It's a true story, but I got here, and 6 weeks later, after I moved from New York to Cambridge, I wrote my parents a letter saying, I know this is going to sound strange to you, but I really feel as if I finally come home, that this place feels so much more natural and congenial to me than England. And I wasn't expecting it at all. I had every European's condescending ignorance when it comes to the United States. But I love the fact that you could do stuff here and say stuff and people would be like, oh, cool. It wouldn't be, who do you think you are? Where do you think you're from? What school did you go to? What business do you have doing this? All the classic British negativism, which as a kind of pushy, enthusiastic, optimistic student at Oxford, I hit wall after wall after wall of cynicism and negativism and sort of envy and resentment of success or ambition or even just achievement. And suddenly, I entered a society in which all of this was valued. And people were like, yeah, great. And so I wrote that letter. I felt almost instantly that this is where I was going to live the rest of my life. And that was pretty powerful. I mean, it took me a while for certain things. Like, I for a long time, when people would walk by me and say, hi, how are you doing? I would start saying things like, well, you know, I got up today and I was kind of feeling out of it. And they'd be already like 20 yards gone. And I realized, oh, they don't mean that. It's just this kind of like, that's what Americans do. They say, how are you? Expecting you to say, fine. And if you don't say fine, they really don't want to know. And little things like that, you got used to. And then the language stuff, which you eventually overcame. By the way, someone asked, how do the English pronounce Aristotle in one guttural syllable? So I'm going to do my best here. It's Aristotle. Aristotle. And you try getting that through to a class of freshmen at Harvard when you're teaching. And it was the teaching that made me sort of just slow the pace down. The British talk really quickly, and mainly in the back of their throats. And you can psychoanalyze that whichever way you want.